Hello, hello.
Well, here we are.
6 months on from when we first bought the Mendi.
Yeah, 6 months later from our Mendi purchase, and we've gotten over 200 views on our first unboxing Mendi video. Thank you for all who watched that video.
Shout out to the viewers.
Yeah.
The question is, has the dog been using the Mendi?
No.
He tried to eat it though, didn't
He did try to eat it. We wanted to make this video because two of you have asked, how has the Mendi use been going? And so we wanted to make an honest video review of the Mendi product. Right?
Yes, sir. Just
Get out of your butthole, mate.
Okay. Maybe you could put that in the edits in there. All right. So get the questions out, Kate. We made some questions prepped.
Prep. All right. So what inspired you to try the Mendi?
You, really.
Oh, me.
Kate was chirping on a lot about brain health, and she'd been reading books about improving neuroplasticity and various cognitive function. And I wanted to honour Kate's investigative personality and intentions, and thought, well, we've got a fund set up for our health and our self-development, and the Mendi fell right into the budget. And I thought, well, why not? Give it a swing. What about you? What inspired you to try it?
I was inspired to try it because Joshua said he believed he was experiencing symptoms of ADHD. And I had heard
That
that
is true, though.
neurofeedback therapy would provide a helpful medium to understand ADHD more, because I don't think it's not curable. It's something that just requires some treatment and practice. And we weren't going to go down the medication route. And I had reached out to some that were offering neurofeedback therapy, but they were busy, booked to the gills. So we were like, oh, well, we'll just do our neurofeedback therapy at home.
Yeah, it's really interesting how I just completely forgot about that. I guess that still a symptom of ADHD or something? I don't know. But yeah, I concur. All right, so question 2 is, what were you hoping to achieve with the Mendi?
I was hoping to see a change in focus in Joshua and me, and neurofeedback therapy helps with emotional control as well, because it's flooding activity to your prefrontal cortex, and from that place you have more ability to just be in the moment
And regulate yourself.
So we were hoping to achieve a noticeable change in that.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I wanted out of this as well, was like a way to actively train my focus muscles, because the brain is, well, I at least foresee the brain as a muscle, and there's not that many ways to actively train it. There's activities you can do, but I wanted a practice or something that I could commit to and that I knew was going to be helping with those things.
So do you believe that Mendi was effective at improving your brain functioning?
Well, that is the question of this piece of content, in my opinion. And I would say that in the early stages, there was noticeable differences. The first 2 to 4 weeks, when I was consistently using it, I was more creative, and what I noticed was the creativity came to me more readily, in a sense of I guess struggled with expressing my own voice in the creative realm. I think a lot of people go through this. It's pretty normal, you know, like putting yourself out there, you're being exposed. And when I was training with the Mendi in that early period, those thoughts and feelings kind of did just go. And interestingly, I used it just before we recorded this, and my brain feels that same way. It feels like a smoother activation of the things that I want to say to the world, without the baggage of what I perceive to probably be past trauma, past conditioning, or something that's in me that holds me back from creating. So that's really interesting to see that happen in real time.
Well, it could be taking you out of your emotional brain and bringing you back to the prefrontal cortex, where the rationality kicks in. And
That's really interesting to feel this in real time.
just like
Nice turn, I like that.
Thanks.
What about you? Tell us about your experience.
If it improved my brain functioning, I honestly was getting frustrated with the Mendi because I kept using it and I couldn't get the ball to move. And I felt dumb. I felt silly. I was wondering, why can't I make this work? Me and Joshua had the conversation of, why isn't the Mendi working as well for me as it is for you? And you said, maybe you're not being stimulated by the Mendi app itself just staring at a screen, because when I'm looking at it and I can't get the ball to move, I'm actually in my emotional brain being like, wow, I'm dumb. I can't figure this out. This is stupid. Fear and judgment. So then I wanted to explore what other activities in my life are stimulating increased neuroactivity and improved brain function. So I instead started to use the Mendi as a measurement tool. So I would wear the Mendi and then do activities that I believed were good for my brain. I would journal, I would read a book, I would do a headstand. I wanted to see what would it be like to use the Mendi during a headstand.
Obvious choices. Journal, book, headstand.
Well, because when you're in a headstand, you're really focused on, I'm going to stay here and be straight. I didn't realize how silly I was gonna look. I loved it. It was beautiful. Anyways, I found that through journaling, I would be able to get a steady increase in neural activity. And I thought that was fascinating because journaling is a personal favorite of mine in terms of emotional regulation and understanding myself. And the Mendi shows that in real time.
A device like this that is so new is going to have that effect. It is going to be different for everybody, so there's no hard and fast rule of outcome.
Yeah. Ultimately, my interest in it waned because I knew it wasn't the Mendi itself. It was the activities outside the Mendi that were benefiting me that I needed to do.
Yeah. What was the next question on the list? Firstly, shout out to Renton, the most chill, cute Labrador on the internet, in my humble opinion.
Yo.
So let's talk about what you like about the Mendi experience, Kate.
We gotta deal with the cat right now. You want to be a part of the family? You're part of the family. You can come hang out with us. Yeah, it's all right.
Well, the Stanley Zoo is here in full swing. This is mainly our life.
Lovely.
So, Kate, what did you like about the Mendi?
I liked that it made the unknown known, which is part of their sales message. I can't see brainwaves coming out of my head when I'm doing activities. I could be like, oh, I feel better, but why do I feel better? And at what percentage do I feel better? And that is what the Mendi was able to provide for me. You're looking at the screen and you're moving this ball, it brings you to a Star Wars moment where you're like,
yeah, cool.
I'm using the Force. This is crazy. How does it know? It brings mystery and a lot of knowns at the same time to the brain.
People like that, yeah.
But what I liked the most was it as a measuring tool, because I think that will be really effective for anyone who is curious about what activities are benefiting the human race.
Whoa, nice. And I think for me, it adds context a lot. We spend most of our life with these mega brains. No other animal has a brain as big as mine, as big as humans, but we never actually can see, like, contextually, like, when it's working well, when it's not working so well, what activities are inspiring it to be active, what activities are inspiring it to not be active. And I also just like the intention behind it. We invest money in so many different places, and we waste money, and we buy things and this and that, and ultimately our brains are so important, but we just don't invest too much into it because there's very rarely opportunities to do so. There's a couple of apps here and there, but for me, I was like, $350. If this can do even 10% of what I think it could possibly do, that's a really good intention. So I really like that Mendi facilitated that. Maybe a niche way of looking at it, but I really like that, having something that was like a signal to me as a person of, you're putting your money towards improving your brain health, you're putting money towards improving your life. And I always like things that facilitate that, so shout out to Mendi for that.
Thanks, Mendi.
Next question. I can't believe how cute this guy's being.
I know. Do you think it was worth the cost?
Do you think it was worth the cost? It's a good question, and again, this is one I have pondered. Would I recommend it to people? And it's obviously going to depend on your financial situation, and I think it was a good investment. When I look objectively at what $350 gets you in the world nowadays, it's not that much, really, for the impact that it's had on me. And I know I haven't used it in a committed way.
A regimented way.
But overall, yeah, I do think it's a good investment. And I think for anybody that just wants to know more about their brain, even just the context of understanding how your brain actually works. I don't know what accuracy this actually is. It's not 100%. Nothing's going to be 100%. But to see in real time, like, oh, this activity makes my brain do this. This activity makes my brain not so good. To me, that was very eye-opening, and it really started to, like, steer me onto a path of doing things that are actually good for my brain. And I know that in like 20 years, 30 years, or however long I continue this work of developing my brain health, this will be a clear clear flag that was the starting point for it all. And as I said earlier, the intention behind it is something that I do really value. So yeah, I'm glad that we invested in it. Would I recommend it to other people? I think I would, especially if you're on the pathway to like curious about your brain health. You maybe want to just dip your toe into it. It's not going to break the bank for most people. I think it's a good investment.
I agree, it's worth the investment as long as it's not going to put you in a pickle. And I think it's worth the investment in terms of sharing it with others. When we were first really into it in the first few months, we were bringing it to parties and sharing it with people and having them do their own runs and seeing how they do and piquing their curiosity about it. That was worth it for me. And when I heard this person was experiencing ADHD, let them borrow the Mendi for a little bit. If you're someone who is in a position of helping others and you can share it with others and make it a community tool, I think that then it makes it an even better investment. If you're not just using it for yourself but sharing it with others, it makes the investment so much more worth it.
Yeah, I concur again. We concur a lot, don't we? All right, so next question, what would you change?
Yeah, what would I change? I don't know, it's hard because the simplicity of it is mind-blowing at first because you are moving a ball on a screen just with your brain. So that is nice. But I wonder if there are other games they could develop with the Mendi to expand the experience. Yeah, and make it a bit more enjoyable.
Yeah, that's the main thing I would change. It's just so one-dimensional. And I know that it's like a startup and I don't really know too much about the tech and how it works or how like it would be to program another game. But if I was developing this from a business point of view and wanted to get more users involved, which is something that I do and I do think about, is I would be investing so much time and money into making it actually enjoyable to keep using, because like humans are not wired to just keep doing the same thing every day. Yes, it's regimented, it's disciplined, but it becomes a chore very quickly. It doesn't mix up. It's the same app, the same thing. Yeah, they change like some of the menus every now and then and they add a little thing here and there, but I think there's just so much more that could be done with it. You know, you could have different versions of the game. You could have more gamification where there's like a community where it's not about you compete against other people, but you can compare against other people. You can hold other people accountable. I think there's just so much that they could do with it as an idea and as a movement. But right now I don't know where they're investing their time. I re-downloaded the app today for the first time in a few months and there's not really that many changes. They added one new feature called a Mendi score, which again is an arbitrary kind of just statistic thing. It's like, oh great, I got this score. They're trying to gamify it and give you value for commitment, which I understand, but I just think humans aren't wired that way. And if the games could be mixed up and you could maybe train different things, so like one day this game works on maintaining focus, this game works on increasing creativity, something that's a bit more interesting than just the same thing, that would make a big difference for me.
I agree with what you've said, and the scoring itself would confuse me because I thought, I'm doing it wrong, and then I'm getting a score and then I feel poorly about my score, because as humans in this society we're always given a score and that score determines your value in the world, and ultimately it's triggering. And it's okay that that's how it is, because you need to have a score and see numbers and statistics and to understand change. We would show people the app and they would be like, I got this score, what does this mean? And I would be like, I don't entirely know. Like, I want to be able to explain it more effectively without it being so complicated, but I guess it is a complicated concept. I think you covered a lot of the changes. Okay. I think that pretty well I think that pretty well covers that question. So what is your future use of Mendi from today on? What intentions do you want to set?
I really want to help grow Mendi as an idea and a concept. I think that interests me. I would like to get more data and see how other people react with this. Also, I would like to go back to using it more frequently and remembering the outcomes that I get from it, because during this episode it's really, really strange for me. We haven't recorded an episode for a while and I did it just before this and I'd feel good about what I'm doing. As I prefaced earlier, there is a correlation there and I want to study that a little bit more and give myself the permission to just do it more and keep tracking my progress with this, and hopefully be able to design better games for it if I could do that in any way, or design a better community to where people are talking about this and sharing it more. What about you?
I think it would be nice to be a little bit more public about the results that I get from different activities regarding the Mendi, sharing my results results, to be able to use evidence for those that I want to help and support, and being like, look, journaling increases neural activity. It's shown right here. Look at the numbers. This is real. Because things like journaling could be like, oh, whatever, it's just journaling. You're just writing words on a page. Be like, no, this is showing a real significant difference. So as well as showing the positives of what activities benefit neural activity, I would want to do activities that I believe damage neural activity. And I would want to record myself wearing the Mendi while doing those activities to be like, look at this lowers neural activity or doesn't stimulate it versus this does, to show in real time.
That is interesting.
The statistical difference.
Yeah,
and,
that is interesting.
You know, make it more aware to people, because people can say generalizations of this is bad for you and this is good for you, but to what extent?
Yeah. For me, in this world that we live in, I feel like almost everything is reducing your cognitive function, and the products and the movements and the businesses that Kate and I are associated with are fighting against that to bring things to people that improve cognitive function. And we're not partnered with Mendi yet, even though after watching this video they should absolutely speak to us, because I think we could grow this business loads. We're not partnered with that, but I really think that it's a pivotal time in society and the world as we know it, because so many things are stealing our cognitive function and so many things are reducing it, that this tool can firstly highlight that and then help bring it back the other way. And that's something that I'm entering the warrior stage of my life as a man, which is something I talk about on a different channel. But I'm picking things that I'm actually passionate about fighting for, and other people's brain health, their cognitive function, overall performance, well-being, and their mood is something that I want to continue to fight for. So if Mendi can play a part in that for me, I would like to spread that with other people.
That's great. Well, this has been the Staniers giving an honest review of the Mendi. We appreciate you watching and your curiosity. Feel free to ask us any questions that you do have about the Mendi. We are here and we love conversation.
And we'll leave a non-affiliate Mendi link below this video if you want to check it out, and maybe a call link for the Mendi people to speak to us.
Or just anyone to speak to us.
All right, Righteous, thanks for joining in.
Thank you.
Much
Love.
love. See you next time. Peace.
Peace out.